And part of my discipline is trying to track everything I study cross-culturally with time density. Louis Sullivan was born the same year as Albert Hubbard in East Aurora, 1856. He is the son of an Irish dance master. This exact point in time is a unique literary and artistic period we call the Celtic Twilight. It gave birth to a lot of great writers, including William Butler Yeats, James Joyce, Tolkien. But the long and short of it is it's very dreamy, mystic movement. And almost all the art of the day tends to be, well, about half of it is metaphysical. This is the first Philistine poster of Albert Hubbard at the Roycroft. It is very heavily Rosicrucian oriented. I can't explain that to you right now. I don't have the time. Coming up quite quickly will be Frank Lloyd Wright. Where is he? Born in 1867. Louis Sullivan was the man he always referred to as the master. Frank Lloyd Wright is a sacred architect. He uses an awful lot of golden rectangle. There's a wonderful study of golden rectangle superimposed over Frank Lloyd Wright's work. And we have the golden rectangle somewhere. Yes, I can hold my breath. There we are, the golden rectangle, a unique shape, very precise geometry to it. But I look at the buildings I study, I mean, they're basically sacred enclosures. When a building is built with unique architecture, very often in an old churchy style, it kind of functions as a sacred enclosure. This is the bank in Newark, Ohio, that Louis Sullivan built. 1914 it was completed. And every day after lunch, or even happy hour, Louis Sullivan would leave that bank and wander at something, a big open park in Newark, Ohio, and he would just space. He was walking among the Newark earthworks, which are highly impressive works of megalithic, prehistoric Native American architecture. These, for Sullivan, walking among these symbols was like walking in a room. A friend of mine does LiDAR technology, which is laser air surveillance, and when you look at these ancient landscape monuments from high above, they are remarkable. That is the Octagon and Circle Mound in Newark, Ohio, under laser perspective. And when you check the astronomy of these things, you very often find that there's an alignment which points dead straight across the landscape to something. This one points 60 miles across Ohio to something else that's almost identical to it in Chillicothe. This is a monument almost identical to it that is perpendicular to it. These are on a dead straight line with each other across 60 miles of Ohio landscape. It's called the Great Hopewell Highway. If you want to see visions, that would be a great place to go. Now, in Newark again, people love to hang out among these ancient monuments. They get out there and they do funny things. Some of them just sit there and meditate and stare at me when I've got my cell phone camera. But others, this one guy after this person, this is about 4 years ago, this one guy is running laps around one of the Circle Mound, and he's got his shirt off. He looked just like John Belushi. And he was running laps, and every time he passed the opening to the monument, he'd do a Rocky. And I kept trying to catch him in his moment of triumph. But the thing is, when people visit these sacred places, they do funny things and they think they see funny things. This is a Greek column. The capital, the shaft, the base. And you find that a lot of our buildings are designed to impersonate the Greek column. Sullivan's Guarantee Building. Here's the base, here's the shaft. This, with the oculus windows, is the capital. And the building is designed to function. There's a mezzanine down here for everyone in the city. This is for management with the oculus windows, and as always, the workers get the shaft. This is a highly ornamented building. Its ornamentation is utterly stunning. There's not an inch of it that isn't. And the dominant motif tends to be, now some of the images are very Celtic. They're right out of the Book of Kells, uniquely embroidered. Oh God. But the dominant motif tends to be a seed. It's like a seed pod. And what does a seed or a cocoon represent? It represents nascent growth. And what does a human body represent in the thinking of the day? With a soul in it. It's almost as if this vegetative motif of the milkweed pod, it's often called, the milkweed holding its seeds, a cocoon holding its something that's about to fly. And it's thought that this is a very spiritualist message that Louis Sullivan is giving us. Because what does a pod or a cocoon become but the image of the birthing soul? That's an image called The Transfiguration by an artist known as Sullivan Wolfing. And so I think in a way, part of the message of the imagery of the Sullivan Building is a very spiritualist one. It's uplifting and it's got some ascension in it. And thank you. And the light over to you.